So for tonight's training, guys, I'm going to just unmute Daniela, and she's going to go through how you guys can have a surge and get more customers. Over to you, Daniela, crush it.
Hey everyone, can you hear me okay? Yeah, cool. I'm just going to share my screen. So as Tyler said, I was on the panel last week or the week before, and I kind of accidentally hit on group codes. Purely, it was pure accident, and it worked for us. So I put together a little PowerPoint for you. So I'm going to share that with you guys so that I can talk you through it. Okay, so group codes. I'll just give you a brief intro as to why I started with. So as Tyler said, the fast money is in the team building. Yeah, so the first 2 or 3 weeks I spent team building, but then obviously I had, we're a customer based company, and I watched a really powerful video from Mike Healy about, and he was interviewing one of his personally enrolled who had acquired some silly amount of customers. She was on stage and everything in Florida, I think. And it kind of hit me that, I need to actually pay attention to the customer side. I had a couple of customers. I probably had about, I don't know, maybe 40 customers. So I was doing okay. But the pain point for me was having to ask people for their emails and their phone numbers. Because people will happily open up their lives to you on Facebook, but ask them for their phone number and it's a different story. So I was really struggling. Sometimes they wouldn't give me their phone number, sometimes they wouldn't give me their email. And me and Nikki, we kind of was having a chat one day, and when we started using group codes, and it was so much easier. At first we were doing individual codes and we were giving them 3 days because we wanted that boomerang back. And then we hit on the group codes, and then we were doing group codes for maybe 3 days again. But then it kind of evolved in, well, hang on a second, let's block off a group code for a month. Use the same amount of same code for everything. So the reason why we should use group codes is time efficiency. So obviously we do a lot of copy and pasting. I have on my phone notes, and I have the invite written out, which I'll show you, so you can copy this down. I'll share the slides in the group. Another thing that I was finding was when I was sending the individual codes, when they were going through email, sometimes they were hitting junk mail folder, and then they'd come back and say, I haven't got the code, and then I'd have to say, go look in your junk, and it just took loads of time sending out, creating the code, putting their email address, putting their phone number in, then them not finding the email, then them not activating it in time, and it took up a lot of time just to get one customer. So the time efficiency side for the group codes is really, really good. Again, no emails, no phone numbers. And one of the other things is you can have customers you don't know. I think I mentioned it on the opportunity call before. I'd say a good 40 to 50% of my customers, I have no idea who they are. I don't know who they are. I've never met them. I've never spoken to them. They're just people on Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram who've taken a code off their own back, and they've just put their own details in, and they're my customer for life. These are people that I would never, ever have met in my life. And I'll go into that, how to do that later on in the training. And again, it's easier for posts on social media. So rather than saying, give me your email, give me your phone number to people who you don't know, they're not going to give you their email, and they're not going to give you the phone number. So it's easier to connect with those people on social media. Some of you might already know how to do this, and bear with me if you do already know. So obviously you go onto your iBoomerang dashboard, you scroll down and you're going to see the codes bit. You click I go, and then you get an option to do individual or group. So you flick the slider over to group codes. And then how I do it is I create Facebook February 2020, and I block off 100 codes for February because that's my target. A new lot of customers, another 100 customers for February. And then I give the expiration date at 30 days, and then I generate the code. Now, you might not know this, but there is an area where you can see your group codes as well. And you can see your individual codes, see who's taken up the individual codes, and see who's actually, how many of the group codes you have left. So all you do is you generate the code, and then you don't even have to copy and paste it right there because it'll be in the reports. So you can ignore the sender's SMS, sender's email, copy to clipboard. To track them, you go back up to your dashboard and you've got Boomerang at the top. And the individual one is going to show you all the individual ones and whether they've taken it up or not, or whether it's expired, because it stays there even when it's expired. And the group codes actually shows you all the group codes. So when I was producing this, I had another one called Facebook Feb, which I actually did when I was in the UK. And I blocked off 100 codes. And of those 100 codes at the time of doing this, 5 had already been taken up. Now, I'll tell you now, those 5 were not people that I knew. They were people from the Holiday Inn. So when I went to the Holiday Inn, the first thing I did was got talking to the bar staff, and I gave them a group code of 10. And then I gave the receptionist, as we left, and Tyler and Jodie will back me up on this. I gave the group code with 100 codes on it. Now, that's not to say I can't use those 100 codes somewhere else. This is the beauty of group codes. Of the 100 people that you may share it with, only 50 or 75 may take that code up. So I always say to them, there's a certain amount of invites on this code. Take as many as you can because they're not going to be there in a week. I never tell them that there's 100 codes on there. I never tell them that it expires in 30 days. I create the thing of, you need to get this code now because it's not going to be there in a couple of days. Other people have this same code. And it creates the FOMO that they're going to miss out on this code and miss out on this great deal. So you can track the codes here and you can see the Boomerang number. And if you want to get into it, you can kind of do analytics. So you do maybe 20 for Facebook, 20 for Instagram, 20 for LinkedIn. That's how I started doing it, but I've actually just blocked off one code. And the beauty of that, I don't care where they come from as long as they come. That's the way I'm looking at it. Probably later on when I start getting a bit more time, then I'll try and see which groups work better, which platform works better for the acquisition. But right now, those 100 codes are out there on multiple platforms and people are taking the codes. How to invite warm market. So this is the standard message that I've kind of played with, and I find majority of the time works. This is actually a real message to my mum's cousin. I send them a pre-invite. This is a pre-invite. This is to say, I've been a network marketer before. So obviously when I message people out of the blue, they think I'm gonna sell something to them. So I added in the whole, I am not selling you anything. This is something that is for you. I give a brief explanation and then I highlight that it's free. Now, for you don't have to copy this word for word because this might not be how you speak. You've got to kind of take the essence of it and put it into your own words. I say free a lot, or I'll say doesn't cost you anything. I reiterate it so that it sinks in, because sometimes people need to see something more than once to take it in, that you're not asking them for any money. I also never, ever use the word code, because code, a lot of people think when you say the word code, they think scam, and they just won't read your message and they won't take a look. So I use the word invite because, the neuro-linguistic programming, invite is much nicer to hear than the word code. So definitely do not use the word code until you're sending them a code. Most people, sorry, excuse me, most people will actually come back to you and say, yes, please. So I then send them a very short, this is a copy and paste exercise for the most part. The only thing I personalize is that little short message at the top. So I've copied the first message, pasted, changed the name. When they come back to me and saying yes, I'll say, you know, I'll send you a code in a second. I might say, I'll reiterate, activate it. I might say, oh, there's only a few days on it, so get it. It changes every time, but that's the only kind of variance. And you can also add something in a little bit more personal there. You know, oh, hope the kids are okay and blah, blah, blah. Here's the code, here's the invite. And then it's literally, because you've created a group code, that group code stays on my notes page with that invite. So I'm not having to change the code every time I send it to someone. And literally for the whole month of February, that is my code with 100 invites behind it. So I literally copy and paste. I give them all the details. I downplay the savings as well, because it's much better to downplay savings and then them feel like they've got a fantastic deal than overplay the savings, and then the first one they look at, they don't get any savings and they'll never touch it again. So I downplay that. And I did have some issues with them putting the code in and then they couldn't get the password in. So I did say to them, if you've got any issues, just get back to me. Majority of people are all right now. I think it was just a glitch a few days ago. And I always ask them to tag me if they save money, because if they save money and they tag you, their friends who you don't know yet are going to want an invite, want to know what's going on. The majority of my codes have, well, I'd say it's probably 50-50 of the when I went for it. The 2 weeks before the launch event, that was when I got the majority of my customers. And I set myself a target of having 100 before the day. And I had 106 on that Saturday. Utilize your friends. So those were private messages to people I know quite well. Utilize your friends. This is a friend of ours here in Spain, and she has 3 different businesses. She's a customer. She has got too many businesses. She didn't want to take on another, but I'll get her in the end. And she has a tanning. One of the businesses is she does spray tans. So she already knew what I was doing because I sent her an ID decide. She'd had a look. She was a customer. She decided to be a customer in the end. So I asked her if she would post on her page, on her business page, some invites. So what she's done is she's giving goodwill out to her customers. It's not costing her a penny, but the customers are being given to me. So her customers feel like they've got something for free, which they have. She feels like she's given some value to her customers, and I get the customers that I would potentially never have met before. And obviously she's not earning any money, so she added that. There are no catches, she's not making any money from it, and it's a sincere, she actually added that herself because I sent her the wording. So if you send your friends that wording and say, look, here you can give some goodwill to your customers, and they feel like they've given something for free to their customers, it's not cost them as a business anything. And it's a good way of also introducing the business to some of your other business people, because they'll be like, oh. So I always give them the option. Sorry. I always give them the option. You can either give my code out, or you can do it yourself and you can give your codes out, and then they're your customers. So I'm still working through all the people on their first business. And yeah, so also, another place where my customers have come from is my own groups. So what me and our team do, we had a training session the other day where we had a challenge, we had a power hour. And one of the 10-minute segments in that power hour was that we had to go and join a social media group that had something personal to us. So I think one of them joined a twin group, and I joined another singing group. And we had to add value, so we had to post something on that group. Once we've added value to that group, you can then post, I've got something to give you in this group. You know, people can see what you've posted and how much you've contributed to a group before. If you add value to a group and then you go and offer them something, they're more likely to take it. Because I don't know if you know, but when you go on groups, you can actually see who has posted what in the history if you click on their profile. So in one of my groups that I run, I have 13,000 people. I can actually see who's added, who comments, who's posted, how often they've posted, how often they've commented, have they been an idiot, do they need to be moderated in any way, you know. So if you add value for maybe a week beforehand and then post it, you're more likely to, one, get your post accepted if it's not your group, and two, more likely for people to take it up because they've seen your name and they've seen that you've added value to that group. So always do it on something that you're interested in. You know, don't go off and, you know, I can't really join mums groups because I'm not a mum, so I wouldn't have the first clue what I'm talking about. Whereas Nikki's got twin boys and one of my other girls in the team's got triplets. So they're targeting the multiple children groups, because, you know, you need a holiday if you've got triplets. So that's what Kerry says anyway. So that's how we do group codes. And I don't know if anyone's got any questions or want me to clarify anything on that. Unmute yourself. Yeah, Luce, one sec. Do I have to unmute you or Tyler?
Won't be a second, guys. I'll just give permission for people to unmute themselves. Give me about 2 seconds.
Done. That was amazing. That well done, Daniela.
Thank you.
Amazing value, absolutely.
Hey Danny, that was awesome. We're part of, I know I can speak for like Gemma and all us girls, right? We're part of Single Women That Travel groups. We're the single traveller, you know, all the rogues that aren't married and want to just travel basically. Like, in order to, like, there's strict guidelines in the Facebook groups. Obviously we've got our old cleanse page from Isogenics, but that's just dead in the water basically. So if we want to add to the groups, like these groups that have got like thousands and thousands of people in, if we posted something like that, would we not get kicked out because it's business related?
It depends how you go for it. I did it in one of my singing groups. You know, I'm in a group called Showbiz Highs, Lows and Blows. Basically, it's a load of singers and musicians just posting their highs and posting the majority of its lows. So we all moan about, you know, oh, this gig was rubbish and stuff like that. So how I approached that was, I said, hi, admin, I hope this is okay to post. I know we all need a holiday after that busy Christmas gig period. I've managed to obtain some invitations to a travel site that gives us discounted travel. If anyone wants it, you just put this code into this thing and do it like that. So I don't really announce that it's me. I announce it more that I'm adding value to the group.
Right, you're giving.
Whereas if you say, I've got a business and I want business builders, that's different.
I mean, I've got a question. These group codes are amazing. They're absolutely sensational because, you know, you could talk to someone in the supermarket and if you've got a card with a code, boom. But what I'm wondering is, what's the point of having these single codes? Why do we need to use the single codes? Why do we not just use group codes?
Well, I was using single codes for the first couple of weeks. I think single codes can be useful if you want it more personalized, or if you want to know if someone specifically is joined easily, because you can still see who's joined and use the group code, because you can go into your so how I do it is I send the group code out, and then I see that, because I'm obsessive. I'm like, every morning I go onto my Boomerang on my phone and I go to customer reports and I see if the number has gone up. I want to see who's done it. It's not easy on the phone. It's easier to go on the computer, but I see that the number's gone up. And then I actually filter the customers by the most recent joined. And if I know the person, yay, I know I don't need to contact them. And I track that, how I track. You know,
I've spoken to you, I think it was last week, about these cards that I want to create.
I am working on that.
Yeah, so is there, I mean, you might be a little bit 2 steps ahead of me, but is there anything in particular that we're not allowed to put on those cards that might get us in trouble, or is it literally free for all we can put in?
Basically, Steph's boyfriend is an Uber driver, and he's just going to give out a load of codes. Like, how awesome.
Well, I'll tell you what I did. When I got to Malaga Airport to go to the UK for the launch, I actually I leave my car there with the car service, and as they know me because I'm literally there every few weeks.
Again,
they take the car. And I said, "Oh, how many cars do you take on a month?" And he was like, "Well, about 500." So I said, "You have 500 customers every month?" And he was like, "Yeah." I said, "Well, I tell you what, I've got to run and grab my plane. But I might have a business proposition for you."
Dexter.
So I've actually messaged them today and we're trying to arrange a coffee. The business proposition was either they join iBoomerang and they give their own codes out.
Yeah.
Or if they don't want to do that, I do the same principle as my friend who had the tanning company. I will make up cards with a group code for a month. I'll block off like 100 codes or something because not everyone will take it. I might do 500 cards with that one code on for 100 codes, and then give it to them to hand out when they give the car back. I mean, these are people who are travelers.
That's insane. That's literally insane. I know Siobhan had a question about sharing codes on Instagram, the swipe up option. We see Annie and Thomas do that, but you need 10,000 followers to do that. Steph and I use Instagram a lot. When we get to 10,000 followers, you can use the swipe up option.
Yeah.
But you can't post on Instagram story the swipe up option until you have at least 10,000 followers. I've got that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know. It is. I can help Siobhan with
I've got like 124 followers. Not very good.
Thank you, Danny. I'll let someone else have a go.
Anyone else?
Hey, it's Sonia. Lucy. Hi. I think something I looked at because I'm doing swatting up a bit on Instagram, but I mean, I'm not using it at all, really. I'm just learning. But I think if you change your profile to a business, you can add links.
Yeah, mine is a business.
Even if you haven't got 10,000. So that was just maybe worth looking into, Lucy.
Mine's a business account, but I'm not old, but I'm not Instagram generation. I'm still learning, so maybe Tyler and Jodie can give us some Instagram training.
I'm sure I'll have a look and I'll always post in the group, but I think it was mentioned when I was looking at update, for the bio thing. I'll have a look. Okay.
Anyone else have?
Yeah, just a quick one. When someone was asking about what's the point in having individual ones, I suppose at the end of the day, if you've only got a limited amount of boomerangs left, there's no point putting a code up if it's going to be gone in a matter of, you know what I mean? So, I suppose the individual ones are always going to be there, but when you've got a load of boomerangs.
Yeah, I mean, I made it a point to get as many boomerangs as I could because they don't expire at the end of the month. They're there for you to use, and you might need them. So I always say to my team, if there's an offer on like there was the other week, get them.
I think also because the maximum you can have in your back office is 200, because I tried to get more than that, Danielle, and it was 200 was the max. And the other thing I'd just like to say on this call, what is brilliant about the codes, and I used a fake email address today just to find out what a customer would see, because I was thinking, do I need both the URLs in there like we have done normally? If you need their if you have to get their phone number and email address, but you only need the one code because it actually feeds you through to the website. So it's just it makes it so much less clumsy.
Yeah. Siobhan's going to hijack her daughter's Instagram. I need to hijack my nephew's. He must have thousands of followers. Yeah, so I just from a question that I had today as well, it's not really group code related. You do all know about your websites, don't you? Because somebody asked me today about the how I got my website on my page. No, you don't know how? Right, so I will share that in the group as well. So basically it's your username iBoomerang. So you can actually, so how I've done it is I've set my page up, the Kessa Girls Lifestyle and Travel, I think I called it. But it's actually got my iBoomerang website, and it takes them to the landing page, which explains, I got that from Mike Healy, because he's a bit of an internet whiz. And it actually takes you to the Join iBoomerang page. So if anybody looks on my Facebook page and to see what I'm doing, they can actually go straight to my website. Also is useful if you've got someone who just wants to sign up. You don't need to send them the iDecide. You can send them that link, that boomerang. Mine is dekessagirl@iBoomerang, I think, something like that. I've got it copied. Everything's copied because I don't have to remember anything then. And you can actually send that out to somebody if they're ready to sign up and they don't need to see an iDecide. You can send them out. It takes you to the join page, and they're already connected to you. You don't have to search for you. It comes under you straight away. So that's something that Nikki taught me, actually. So yeah, we all make sure that all our team know their own personal website address, because then you can use it on your social media, LinkedIn, etc.
Danny, are you doing the network build as heavily as you were before, and then offering people a code when they say no? Because that's what we've been doing. Yeah, still doing that. So you're doing just both.
I'm dual attacking. So I'm actually three-prong attacking, and I know I look like a little swan, and then my legs underneath the water are going like that. I'm on my phone all day. My husband hates me.
I know. I barely see my boyfriend. Yeah.
So I have three. So I'm making connections on LinkedIn that I may have use for later. So people who are Uber drivers, Lyft drivers, that kind of thing. So I'm making the connections on there. I wish everybody a happy birthday, and then we get talking. And that's on Facebook and LinkedIn. So everyone gets a happy birthday from me, and then how are you, what you're doing. And 2 people from the birthday list took a code today. One's off to Egypt and one's in Barcelona. So they both took codes today. Because it kind of gets, oh, you're doing anything nice? A lot of people go away on their birthdays. So when you say to them, oh, have you got anything nice planned? They're usually going somewhere, or just about to go somewhere, or they've just been for their birthday. And then you can say, oh, next time you go, you can see travel code. Because, I'd rather waste a boomerang on somebody that will be a business builder later than not get them at all. Because you can't say, happy birthday, do you want to do a business? Well, I can't. I haven't got the bare-faced brass tacks for that. But if you're talking to them and talking about travel, then send them a code. And what was the other one? So that's that. And then I'm literally just doing the business builders I'm targeting network marketers hard, not people that I know, people that I haven't got a clue. I am targeting them hard. And then the codes are going to my friends and random strangers on Facebook. And that's how I'm doing it. So I think I'm at 120 customers now.
Okay. Daniela, can I ask a question?
Mm-hmm.
So when you said you're targeting network marketers as a focus, what's your approach just to kind of be compliant with their company or with iBoomerang, something to make sure you don't be you're not stealing?
No, I'm not. No, I'm targeting people who maybe have done network marketing in the past. As in, I'm not going, oh, you need to do this because that company's, I don't say that. I get to know them. I mean, I've been speaking to someone tonight who actually connected with me on LinkedIn, and she's just left another network marketing company. So she's in that nice little, area where she's open. She came to me. She didn't ask me about it. We just got talking, and then just be a human. That's the way just be a human, and I'm not poaching. I'm just talking to people, because I know a lot of people in this group are doing 2 network marketing companies. One's product and one's not. I don't see the conflict. I really don't. It's completely different ranges. But I don't target network marketers as in you must be unhappy, you come to me. That's not going to work, because if they're happy, they're going to stay there, aren't they? But that idea came from Mike Healy. There's a YouTube video where Mike Healy says that he is actually targeting his network marketing friends. Mike Healy, you just need Mike Healy for training. You don't need anyone else. So yeah. Anyone else?
Thank you.
No, I'd just like to know if you can share, and perhaps not now, but the whole Power Hour and what you do with your team is in terms of segments or what you go through. I'd be just really interested in knowing a bit more about that.
I mean, it's a 2-second job. Nikki kind of came up with, we were going to do a Power Hour. Nikki came up with the suggestion that we do it in 10-minute segments. So the first 10 minutes were, right, go, and it was based on Fraser Brooks's 2020 algorithm video. I think that was shared in the, I don't know if it was shared in the main group. It was go and comment on people's posts, go and be interactive with people's posts, like them. Also, someone told us the other day, and it was really good because it was just for the Power Hour and it worked. If you're responding to people on Facebook, use more than 4 words. Because if you say great or yeah, Facebook doesn't count that as you being social. So use more than 4 words. So great, blah, 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 blah. And that will be more, and then you'll start be seeing more. So that was the first 10 minutes. And then the next 10 minutes, you might have seen us all, we posted at exactly the same time. So me and Nikki posted a Power Hour. We were like, we're doing Power Hour, and we took a picture of ourselves. And then that kind of got people talking about the business. And then the next 10 minutes was responding to the messages that we had. And then the next 10 minutes was get rid of some Facebook friends who you're never going to speak to. If you don't want to wish them happy birthday, or one of them was deceased, or get rid of them, because the more friends you have that you don't relate to on social media and don't connect with, the less you're seen. And then the next one was, I can't remember now, it was a few other things that we kind of came up with as we went. Nikki will probably...
join the groups.
Joining the groups.
Looking for 5 groups on Facebook that you had interest in, and joining them, and then getting all the likability factor and credibility.
Yeah. And the hour flew. But we all did that. We went on a Zoom and we all just sat there muted, and every 10 minutes we'd be like, right, the next 10 minutes you're doing this, right, the next 10 minutes you're doing this. And it flew by. We could have carried on, couldn't we?
Yeah. And the other one was to follow up. So
Yes.
we said we want you to follow up with 5 people on Facebook, 5 people on WhatsApp, and 5 people on iDecides. And then you mute for 10 minutes and then you go back on. Right, next thing.
Great.
I mean, we're happy to do a group Power Hour if anyone wants to join us.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely, that'd be awesome.
Because we do it at Sunday morning at 11 our time, so that would be 10 UK. I don't know if that's too early.
No, that's fine. We're all busy.
Yeah, so Sunday mornings at 10 GMT.
Yeah,
11.
if you post that, that'd be great. And if we can jump on, we can jump on.
Yeah, I'll post that to the group because we use my Zoom code for that, so that can be a separate.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing, Danielle.
I'm
That's
very
awesome.
conscious of time, that Tyler's like, don't talk for more than 5 minutes. And it is 11:15 here. So if there's no more questions, or if there are any questions, feel free to